Most new cars are just rolling computers loaded with sensors. And recently, a Washington Post writer hacked into a Chevy Volt to show just how much cars are spying on their owners. Cybersecurity consultant Dave Hatter joins us now with the results. Some surprising, at least to me, probably a lot of it not. But let's go back. Tell us what this Washington Post reporter did.
So they picked a Volt at random, a 2017 Volt, so a fairly new car that's got a lot of sensors and so forth in it, and they hired a hacker so they could see what kind of information is being transmitted from the car back to GM. And what they found is it's pretty much everything about the car itself, which isn't surprising because GM's point is, they use that information to tell you when it needs maintenance. If you have a wreck, they help first responders identify where you are. But also, if you plug your devices, like your phone, into it, then it potentially extracts all that information out of your phone, and that is also then shared with third parties.
And that car's computer, or maybe a second one that they looked at, actually showed data that had nothing to do with wrecks or anything else, right?
That's an excellent point, John. So they went out and they bought one of these entertainment centers out of a Chevy off eBay and just went in to see what information they could get out of it. And they found all kinds of information from the previous owner, including someone that person called Sweetie, from the contact information that was uploaded from their phone.
Okay. Now, obviously, this is, let's explain to people when we say plug into the automobile exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, so most newer cars have a USB port, and people will plug their devices in not only for charging, but also so they can interface the device and control music, make hands-free phone calls, that kind of thing. So once you do that, it's potentially going to suck all of the information out of your phone. Obviously, that has nothing to do with your driving habits or capabilities or safety of the car, at which point you don't really know exactly what that car manufacturer is going to do with that information.
Now they insist that they're not using any of the personal data.
Yeah, GM basically says, they only use information that you consent to use. The GAO recently did a report on this and said, yeah, they do, because either you don't use the services or you essentially consent to give them the access to everything on any devices you plug in. That's kind of the bottom line.
Yeah, is it for just wired devices, or is it Bluetooth as well?
If you connect via Bluetooth and you have that interface between the devices, it's going to take the information off of that as well.
Okay, so now what do we do? What do we do to protect ourselves?
That's a good question. The first thing is you really should never connect your phone to any vehicle you don't own. If you rent a car, if you're in your friend's car, understand that once you plug into the USB port, you connect via wireless, it's potentially taking all of your information, and there's no telling where that will end up, including being sold on eBay through some old device. Ideally, you will, if you're going to charge, plug into the cigarette lighter or something like that, and don't interface your phone. In your own vehicle, you can decide for yourself if you want to share that with the manufacturer. I realize it's inconvenient, but you can still use the hands-free capability. You can still charge your phone without directly connecting it to the systems in the car.
Yeah, and if you have any questions about that, just consider the kinds of information you have on your phone.
Yes.
I mean, credit card information and all sorts of things that can be compromised.
That's an excellent point, John. And it's well known that these in-car systems can be hacked. There's an interesting story from all the way back in 2015 where a wired rider went out with some hackers, and they were able to control a Jeep Grand Cherokee while it was driving, which led to a gigantic recall from Chrysler. So there's not only the fact that you're making this information available to the manufacturer, these vehicles can be hacked, they have been hacked, and you can bet hackers will continue to focus as they get more advanced.
All right, just 1956 Chevy, and we're all good.
There you go.
All right, Dave.
That'll be safe, John. Thanks.
It is